So I want to just clarify something that we've talked about before, but I want to just make sure we're clear on it, because I know when I said it last week, and we've talked about this a few times, but I want to make sure that we're clear about this. The old life versus the new life, okay? So I'm looking at Leviticus chapter 17, verses 10 to 12. Leviticus 17, 10 to 12. Anyone from the house of Israel or from the foreigners who live among them who eats any blood, I will turn against that person who eats blood and cut him off from his people. Why? For the life of a creature is in the blood. And I have appointed it to you, what? Appointed what? It? Blood to you, to make atonement on the altar for your lives, since it is the life blood that makes atonement. You are not to eat the blood of any animal, it says here, because blood is the life of the animal, and because of your sinfulness, blood has to be shed to atone for it. Okay? Blood is not forbidden because it's not good for you or any of these other things. Blood is forbidden to the children of Israel because of the fact that life has to be taken, blood shed to atone for sin. Okay? And I'm going over this. We all know it, but just we need to make this 100% clear. Colossians 1, 15 to 20. He, Jesus, is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For everything was created by him in heaven and on earth, the visible and the invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and by him all things hold together. He is also the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, so that he might come to have first place in everything. Verse 19, for God was pleased to have all of his fullness dwell in him, and through him to reconcile everything to himself by making peace through the blood of his cross, whether things on earth or things in heaven. Do we believe that the cross was bleeding? No. It's Jesus' blood which was shed on the cross.
Right.
What do we know about blood? I've appointed it, blood, to you to make atonement on the altar for your lives, since it is the life blood that makes atonement. This is why Jesus saying to his disciples, take, eat, drink, this is my blood, is most definitely the sign of a new covenant. Because I am now saying to you that the way to God is by taking on both the atonement that I'm going to make for you, but also by taking on my life.
My perfect.
Okay? Eat my flesh, drink my blood. This is why it was so heinous to them when he was talking about, let's see, you have to eat my flesh and drink my blood. This was heinous to them because what did they understand? The life of every creature is in the blood, and blood was forbidden. Hebrews chapter 9, starting at verse 18. That is why even the first covenant was inaugurated with blood. For when every command has been proclaimed by Moses to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of calves and goats along with water, scarlet wool, and hyssop, and sprinkled the scroll itself and all the people, saying, this is the blood of the covenant that God has commanded for you. In the same way, he sprinkled the tabernacle and all the articles of worship with blood. Now, remember we talked about the fact that when we think about sprinkling, it isn't like he took a little mister and just squirt, squirt, and you just got hit by a little couple of things, right? What that scene was that blood was filling these lavers, which were huge, wide, and shallow bowls. And so as they got picked up, they were sloshing around, and he was flinging these lavers full of blood on the people. Verse 22, according to the law, almost everything is purified with blood, and without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. Let's skip ahead to verse 25. He did not do this to offer himself many times, Jesus, as the high priest enters the sanctuary yearly with the blood of another. Otherwise, he would have had to suffer many times since the foundation of the world. But now he has appeared one time at the end of the ages for the removal of sin by the sacrifice of himself. So now you can understand why the sea and death and Hades give up the dead that are in them. Whoever's name is not written in the book of life goes into the lake of fire, which is the second death. Because those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life are written there because of God's will and because of the removal of sin by the sacrifice of himself. Matthew 26, 26 to 29. As they were eating, Jesus took bread, blessed it and broke it, gave it to the disciples and said, "Take and eat it, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he gave it to them and said, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood that establishes the covenant." Other readings would say, "This is my blood of the new covenant. It is shed for many for the forgiveness of sins." And there's the proof. Jesus' blood was not shed for every single person, or else the blood would have no power. Because if people were still going to hell after Jesus' blood was shed for them, then his blood has no power.
Yes.
Or that it has to be activated at a later date when that person makes up their mind. No, not at all. The blood was shed. So Jesus says, "I tell you, from this moment I will not drink of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it in a new way in my Father's kingdom with you." So why am I getting to all of this? Because there is a new thing coming which was guaranteed. A new life is coming which was guaranteed to us. And of course we see that in the first resurrected person. The person that has a resurrection body, i.e. Jesus Christ. John 20, verses 25 to 29. So the other disciples kept saying to, this is Thomas, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "If I don't see the mark of the nails in his hands, put my finger into the mark of the nails, and put my hand into his side, I will never believe." After 8 days, his disciples were indoors again, and Thomas was with them. Even though the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them. He said, "Peace to you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here and observe my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Don't be an unbeliever, but a believer." Thomas responded to him, "My Lord and my God." Jesus said, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Those who believe without seeing are blessed." So now what do we know about this body that Jesus has?
No more blood.
No more blood. Or else he would be bleeding, tracking blood all over the place. Because he has open wounds in his hands, his feet, and his side. The second thing we know about this body is that this body transcends the former earth. What do I mean? He's walking through a locked door. There is something about this body, okay, because it is a resurrection, new covenant body, excuse me, that the old covenant things don't hold sway over it. The third thing we know is that it's recognizable because they know who they're seeing. The fourth thing that we understand here is that we will know each other, we will know ourselves, and we will be known as ourselves. Which means that you are not going to be floating on a cloud someplace. You're not going to have a harp and some little wings and floating around someplace while you eternally sing hymns to Jesus in perfect Elizabethan English. That's not what it's going to be about. You are going to know and be known as yourself. Right? You were not created to be an angel. It is foolishness to tell people so-and-so is an angel looking down at you from heaven. That's foolishness. If God wanted to create you as an angel, he would have created you as an angel. He created you a man. He created you a woman. As such, when you are in your resurrected body, the fullness of what this body is supposed to be, in terms of its abilities, in terms of its strength, in terms of all of that, will be made manifest. Luke 24, excuse me, 36 to 43. And as they were saying these things, he himself stood among them. He said to them, "Peace to you." But they were startled and terrified and thought they were seeing a ghost. "Why are you troubled?" he asked. "And why do doubts arise in your heart? Look at my hands and my feet." Meaning what? Here are the wounds. See that it is I myself. Touch me and see, because a ghost does not have flesh and bones as you can see I have. Having said this, he showed them his hands and feet. But while they were still amazed and unbelieving because of their joy, he asked them, "Do you have here anything to eat?" So they gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he took it and ate it in their presence. You will eat, you will speak, you will see, you will hear, you will be seen, all as yourself, but on a level that exceeds anything we can imagine.